stranded alien mother and child saved by a human ranger during a planetary flood. No one heard the war coming. It did not begin with warnings. It did not begin with demands. It began with silence, a silence so deep that even the stars seemed to hold their breath. On a quiet moon named Elara 9, a small group of humans lived and worked peacefully. They were scientists, engineers, teachers, and children. They studied the oceans and strange glowing plants. They laughed during meals. They played music at night. They were far from Earth, but they felt safe, because everyone believed the galaxy was at peace. But peace is only real until someone decides it is not. At 1842 local time, the sky changed. Stars vanished, blotted out by something huge. At first, people stepped outside simply to look. Children pointed. Scientists recorded readings. No one understood what they were seeing. Then the object split into many shapes. Warships, hundreds of them, descending like dark steel thunder. The ground shook. The air vibrated. Animals fled into burrows, and the sky burned purple. The Varkon Dominion had arrived, a ruthless empire known for conquering planets, erasing cultures, and leaving silent ruins behind. Their message came on every channel, every speaker, every screen. This moon now belongs to the Dominion. Surrender and live. But everyone knew the truth. No one lived. Varkons did not take prisoners. Inside the research base, panic began. People ran. People cried. People clutched each other. Except one man. Sergeant Aaron Hale, the base's only military guard, did not run. He moved calmly, too calm, like someone who had seen war before. He checked door locks, counted people, gathered supplies. His voice was steady. Everyone to shelter. Keep close. No one breaks away. Dr. Maya Reeves grabbed his arm. Her face was pale. Aaron, we can't fight them. We have no weapons. Aaron looked at her, not with fear. Not with anger, but with something colder. Purpose. We don't need weapons, he said. We need time. Outside, Varkon landing ships slammed into the ground like falling mountains. Their soldiers poured out, towering reptile-skinned warriors in black armor, holding plasma rifles that hummed like lightning. Their commander spoke with arrogance. Search, capture, erase the rest. They marched toward the base. Step, step, step. The floor vibrated. Children covered their ears. Aaron took a deep breath. He walked to the front airlock alone. Dr. Reeves whispered. Terrified, what are you doing? Aaron didn't answer. He simply reached for his wrist device and sent a signal. A silent message through deep space. Just one sentence. Requesting permission to respond. It was not a cry for help. It was not a call for rescue. It was something else, a warning. Then, Aaron turned to face the airlock, unarmed, standing. Alone when the door exploded, inward, fire, smoke, sparks, the Varkon soldiers entered and laughed when they saw him, one human. Against 12 armored warriors, the leader pointed his blaster casually. You are alone. You are weak. You will kneel. Aaron did not move. He spoke softly. No, the leader growled. Then you die first. But before he could fire, the moon shook. The clouds split. The sky twisted like something was tearing through space itself, a sound like thunder mixed with a roar of engines. Every Varkon soldier stopped moving. They stared upward, above the moon. Something emerged from hyperspace, not sleek, not shiny, not beautiful, a human dreadnought, dark metal, scarred armor, no mercy, no hesitation. It moved like a predator. Its engines burned like a star. The Varkons stepped back in fear. Even they recognized that ship. Humans called it the Silent Resolve. A warship sent only when the situation is beyond negotiation. The Varkon commander whispered. They sent a dreadnought. For only 30 humans. Aaron finally allowed himself to blink. Not for 30, he said, quietly, for family. The sky glowed red as the dreadnought opened its weapon, bays, and the universe learned something that day. Humans do not start wars, but they will end them, completely. Want to see what happens when the human dreadnought begins its attack? Don't miss part 2. Things are about to get brutal. subscribe to HFY, sci-fi, turn on notifications. The arrival of the human dreadnought. The sky over Ilara 9 was no longer a sky. It was a storm of metal and fire. The Varkon soldiers stood frozen, staring upward as the human dreadnought slowly descended. Not fast, not rushed. It moved with the calm confidence of something that never doubted the outcome of a battle. Its hull was blackened, scarred from old wars, but the white insignia on its side was still clear. United Human Defense Fleet. 3 words the galaxy had learned to fear, but the Varkons had forgotten. Or maybe they'd simply gotten arrogant. The dreadnought drifted into the atmosphere, blocking out half the moon's sunlight. Its engines rumbled like thunder, and waves of heat rippled across the surface. The soldiers who had mocked the humans just minutes earlier now looked like prey, realizing they had wandered into a predator's den. The Varkon commander tried to hide his fear. "Hold your positions," he snapped. It's only one ship, but it wasn't said with strength. It was said like a prayer he didn't believe. Inside the human research base, the people watched through reinforced glass. Fear and hope tangled together. Dr. Reeves whispered, "Is that Earth's top military ship?" Aaron didn't look away from the window. "No," he said quietly. "That's the ship they send when diplomacy has failed." The others stared at him. "When there is nothing left to discuss." On the dreadnought's bridge, Captain Yara Voss stood tall, armored and emotionless. Her eyes were sharp, her posture straight. She was known in the fleet by a single nickname, the calm before, because where she went. War followed. "Status," she ordered. Her officers spoke quickly. "Enemy forces confirmed on ground and in orbit. No human casualties yet, but capture attempt detected." Yara's expression didn't change. "Begin response protocol Sigma." The bridge went silent. Every officer knew what Sigma meant. This was no warning shot. No negotiation. Sigma meant, "You attacked our people. Now you pay." Her voice came cool and steady across the comms. "To all Varkon forces, you have 30 seconds to withdraw. After that, there will be nothing left to withdraw from." There was no reply. Not even pride dared answer her. The countdown began. On the moon, the Varkon commander's scales paled. "This is impossible," he growled. "Humans don't respond this fast." "This has to be 10 seconds, Aaron whispered. The Varkons looked at him in shock. "You knew?" One hissed. Aaron didn't look at them. He simply stared at the ship. "I was not requesting permission for rescue," he said quietly. "I was requesting permission to unleash them." The Varkon commander shouted, "Fire at the sky! Bring that ship down!" But panic had already taken control. Their shots were wild, desperate, uncoordinated. The dreadnought didn't even react. It simply finished the countdown. The air split with light. Blue plasma beams dropped from the dreadnought like falling stars. Silent, focused, merciless, striking every Varkon landing craft in perfect unbroken sequence. Not one missed, not one wasted shot. The moon shook. Shockwaves rolled across the ground. Flames burst into towering columns, where Varkon machinery once stood strong and loud. There was now only smoke. The ground forces were thrown to the dirt. Their armor cracked. Their weapons melted. The message was clear. Humans did not fire to intimidate. They fired to end. The Varkon commander roared in frustration, lifting himself from the ground. "This is not over," he shouted. "I will not fall to—" He didn't finish. Aaron had moved. No sound. No warning. Only speed, 1 step, 2 steps. Aaron's arm wrapped around the commander's neck and through him down with controlled precision. The Varkon soldiers stared. Humans were supposed to be slow, soft, weak, but the man before them was like stone and shadow and lightning all at once. The commander struggled. Aaron pressed his knee to the alien's chest, steady and unshaking. Aaron leaned in close. His voice was low, cold. "Human, you made one mistake." The commander hissed. "What mistake?" Aaron looked into his eyes. "You touched people who weren't yours." Above them, the dreadnought opened again, but this time, no bombs fell. Instead, drop pods, hundreds, sleek. Metal capsules streaking through. The sky like meteors, they smashed into the surface and burst open, and out stepped the human. Ground Response Division, not just soldiers, the best soldiers humanity, had armored, silent, visors glowing like burning stars. One soldier spoke through a voice. Filter that echoed like a god of war. Secure civilians. Disarm hostiles. Leave none capable of returning. The Varkons, once conquerors, now looked like lost animals surrounded by hunters. Dr. Reeves stared with wide eyes. These are humans too? Aaron nodded. Yes. She looked at him slowly. Then what are you? Aaron didn't answer. Because he didn't need to. The war had just begun. The reputation of humanity. Where the galaxy remembers why humans are feared. Why the galaxy fears humans. The smoke from the battlefield still hung in the air. The ground trembled from the shock waves of the dreadnought's attack. But now the explosions had stopped. The battlefield had gone quiet, too quiet. Only the crackle of burning metal and the distant echo of falling debris could be heard across Ilara 9. The Varkons were defeated in minutes. Not hours, not days, minutes, and that terrified everyone who witnessed it. The human civilians stared at the soldiers who had landed from the drop pods. Their armor was thick, matte black, and built with sharp angles. No decoration, no color, no identity markers. Just purpose. They didn't walk. They advanced. Slow, controlled, unshakable, like death wearing armor. Dr. Reeves whispered. I thought, humans were peaceful explorers. Aaron didn't look away from the troops. We are, he said. But peace is only possible when you are strong enough to protect it. The surviving Varkon soldiers didn't fight anymore. Their weapons lay abandoned. Their courage had evaporated. The arrogance they arrived with was now dust under their boots. Some trembled. Some prayed. Some simply stared blankly at the humans, unable to understand what they were seeing. The Varkon commander finally spoke, voice raw. You are not like the stories say. Aaron stepped closer, arms folded. And what do your stories say? That humans are emotional, weak, disorganized, always fighting among themselves. Aaron's expression didn't change. Half true. Yes, we argue. Yes, we disagree. Yes, we feel deeply. He leaned closer, close enough for the commander to see his eyes. But that's what makes us dangerous. The commander flinched. Dangerous? Aaron nodded slowly. We don't fight because we want to. We fight because we refuse to lose. The Varkon soldiers exchanged confused glances. This didn't make sense to them. Their race believed in strength, in power, in survival of the strongest. But humans fought for something else, something irrational, something unpredictable, something terrifying. They fought for each other. Captain Yara Voss now stepped down from the Dreadnought's command shuttle, boots hitting the ground with an echo like a gavel. She didn't need guards. She didn't need escorts. She was authority. Dr. Reeves stepped forward cautiously. Captain, thank you. You saved us. Voss didn't respond immediately. Her eyes scanned the battlefield, noting damage, troop positioning, possible ambush points. Even now, after victory, she planned for danger. Only after every detail was secure did she speak. No, she said calmly. We responded. Response was not rescue. Response was retribution. The captain turned to the Varkon commander. Your empire knew exactly what it was doing when it targeted civilians, she said. You expected us to hesitate, to negotiate, to fear escalation. She paused, her voice steady. You expected humans to act like you. The commander swallowed hard. And you didn't. No, Captain Voss agreed, because humans don't fight to win. Humans fight until there is nothing left to threaten their own. The wind shifted, carrying gray smoke and heat. A hush settled. It felt like the galaxy itself was listening. Aaron spoke next. You think we're emotional. You think love makes us weak. He motioned to the soldiers around him. Silent, disciplined, unbreakable. But love is why we don't stop. Why we never surrender. Why we return stronger. He lifted his chin slightly. Humans do not fear death. We fear losing the people we love. The Varkans had no answer, because their society taught them to accept loss, to abandon the weak, to move forward without regret. Humans were the opposite. If a human lost something, they would burn the universe to get it back. The dreadnought engines rumbled again, slow, steady, like a heartbeat growing, louder. Dr. Reeves watched the soldiers regroup and move in coordinated formation. She turned to Aaron. Didn't realize humans were seen like this. Across the galaxy, Aaron let out a breath. Because most humans don't know. The galaxy fears us. Not because we are monsters. He glanced toward the wounded civilians being cared for by medics. But because we care too much. Dr. Reeves thought about that, and she understood. Humans cry at funerals, sing at weddings, laugh loudly, love deeply, mourn hard, and when someone threatens the people they love, they become unstoppable. The Varkan commander finally spoke again, barely above a whisper. What happens to us now? Aaron didn't answer, but Captain Yara Voss did. Her voice was calm, predictable, and terrifying. That depends, she said. Does your empire want peace? The commander looked at the battlefield, the dreadnought, the soldiers, the humans standing beside each other with fire in their eyes. He knew his answer didn't matter. Peace was no longer a choice. It was a warning. The counterstrike, the Varkan blockade was gone. What had arrived on Alara 9 was not just a rescue, it was a message. A message written in plasma fire across the moon's surface: do not touch humanity. But the galaxy did not yet understand how far humans were willing to go. The Varkan commander, now restrained in electromagnetic cuffs, sat silent in the debris, staring up at the black sky where the dreadnought hovered like a silent judgment. His soldiers avoided his gaze. Their morale had shattered. Meanwhile, inside the human command tent, a war council was forming. Captain Yara Voss stood at a tactical holotable. Beside her was Aaron Hale, his armor scorched, but his posture straight. Dr. Reeves and several civilian representatives were there as well, because what happened next would not just decide a battle, but a future. The map flickered to life, projecting a massive shape, the Varkan homeworld. Everyone in the tent went still. Dr. Reeves whispered, We're going after them? Captain Voss nodded once. They attacked civilians. They left no room for negotiation. They have declared total war. Then she did something no one expected. She turned to Aaron. You knew this would escalate. Aaron didn't deny it. I did, he said, voice steady. Why? Dr. Reeves asked, her voice soft, unsure. Aaron's eyes were calm, too calm for the moment. Because Varkans don't learn from warnings, he said. They learn from consequences. The hologram zoomed in, highlighting a Varkan structure, a huge dome, glowing red at its center. Captain Voss pointed at it. This is the Varkan Warforge, the heart of their military production. If we destroy this, they lose the ability to make war, Dr. Reeves finished. The room went quiet. Someone finally spoke what everyone was thinking. This could end the war. Aaron nodded. Or it could start one bigger than anything the galaxy has ever seen. Outside, the dreadnought soldiers were preparing for deployment. Their movements were silent and precise, as if they were extensions of the ship itself. A Varkan prisoner watched them with shaking hands. They are not soldiers, he whispered to another captive. They are something else. Humans trained differently. Varkans trained to dominate. Humans trained to end conflict. Fast, clean, final. Fear spread among the prisoners, and survival instincts took over. One of them grabbed Aaron's arm as he walked past. You think we will surrender if you attack our home? The soldier spat. We will fight to the last hatchling. Aaron didn't slow. So will we. The Varkan froze. Because humans had always been willing to do something most species were incapable of. Pay the ultimate price without hesitation. Hours later, the human fleet assembled. Not one ship, not 10. Hundreds. They appeared in the darkness like stars forming a new constellation. Destroyers, carriers, battle cruisers, support frigates, all bearing the same insignia. Earth remembers. Dr. Reeves stood at the observation deck, her breath fogging the glass. "This is everything," she said. Aaron stood beside her. "No," he replied. "This is just what we're willing to show." Dr. Reeves turned her head slowly. "What do you mean?" "This is the fleet." Aaron finally looked at her. "No. This is the fleet they send when they still hope peace is possible." She understood, and her blood went cold. Captain Voss's voice came over the internal broadcast. "All civilian personnel remain aboard command vessel. Combat teams prepare for warp. This is not conquest. This is neutralization." Outside the window, engines flared. The fleet aligned. A ripple of strange blue light spread across the sky. Warp drive ignition. Time stretched. Space bent. Stars blurred, and suddenly, they were gone. Light exploded into existence as the fleet dropped out of warp above the Varkon homeworld. No one spoke, because the planet was beautiful. Massive oceans of teal-green water. Grand metallic cities shaped like spirals and crescents. Forest canopies glowing with bioluminescent light. This world was not a wasteland of monsters. It was a home, for families. For children, for lives. Dr. Reeves felt tears sting her eyes. "Aaron, if we destroy their warforge, how many will suffer?" Aaron's jaw tightened. "Too many," he admitted. "But if we don't, how many of us will?" The Dreadnought issued one final broadcast, sent across every channel. Varkon Dominion. "Stand down. Return our stolen territories. Cease all aggression. You have one chance. Choose peace, or we end your ability to make war." The message was plain, kind, even hopeful, but the reply came within seconds, a furious, roaring voice broadcast from the Varkon planet. "We will never kneel to humans." Captain Voss closed her eyes. She didn't sigh. She didn't curse. She simply nodded once. "Proceed," she said. Aaron spoke without hesitation. "Deploy strike teams." Engines roared. Soldiers locked in. The war truly began. But before the first drop pod launched, Dr. Reeves grabbed Aaron's wrist. Her voice cracked. "Don't lose yourself in this." Aaron met her eyes. "I already did," he said softly. "The day they came for us, and then the humans descended. The fire that started everything, the Varkon homeworld, glowed beneath the human fleet like a jewel floating in darkness. Green oceans, golden deserts, silver cities reflecting the twin moons, beauty, history, civilization, and now, war. The human drop pods streaked downward, fiery trails cutting across the sky. The Varkon people looked up in shock, some afraid, some angry, some simply unable to understand how the war had reached their doorstep. Inside one pod, Sergeant Aaron Hale stood with his squad. Everyone gripped their harness bars. The pod shook violently as it fell through the atmosphere. No one spoke, not from fear, from focus. Aaron's mind was calm, too calm. His heartbeat did not spike, his breathing did not quicken. He had trained for this. He had lived for this moment. But deep inside, under the armor and discipline, there was a fire burning, not rage, not hatred, purpose. The pod thrusters kicked in, impact in 3, 2, 1, boom! The pod slammed into the central courtyard of the Varkon Warforge, the heart of their military power. Metal cracked. Stone shattered. Dust exploded outward. Before the dust cleared, humans were already moving. Aaron's squad flowed from the pod like shadows, precise, quiet, deadly. The Varkon guards reacted too slow. Their weapons rose, but human rifles were already aimed. Short bursts. Controlled fire. No waste, no chaos. The Varkon front line collapsed in seconds. The battle had begun. Meanwhile, across the planet, citizens ran to shelters. Families gathered their children. Broadcasting towers sent frantic announcements. "Remain calm. The Dominion will protect us." But even the announcers sounded unsure, because something was different this time. This wasn't a raid. This wasn't a border conflict. This was direct retaliation, the kind the Varkon Empire never believed humans capable of. Back at the Warforge, Aaron signaled his squad forward. "We move to the core," he ordered. No detours, no delays. The Warforge was enormous, half manufacturing plant, half cathedral. towering machinery hummed like a heartbeat. Smelters glowed white-hot. Engineers in armored exosuits worked frantic control stations. The moment humans entered the hall, sirens wailed. Red lights flashed. Security doors slammed. Robotic defenses activated. The floor split open. And towering combat mechs rose. 6 meters tall, plated in jagged armor, each step shaking the ground. The squad halted. Dr. Reeves's voice came through Aaron's comm link from orbit, watching via satellite feed. "Aaron, if you take down those mechs, you can end this conflict in minutes." Aaron's jaw tightened. "We're not here to destroy everything," he said. "We're here to destroy the ability to make war." The squad spread out. Lasers streaked. Metal clashed. Thunder echoed, but Aaron didn't attack the mechs. He ran past them, straight toward the control platform, at the heart of the forge, where one Varkon waited. The Forge Master, a towering figure in ceremonial armor. Scars across his face, eyes burning like molten metal. "You should not have come here, human," he growled. "This world is not yours." Aaron didn't slow. "It becomes ours," he replied, voice like steel. "The moment you try to harm our people," the Forge Master roared and charged. Their collision shook the entire hall. Outside, Captain Yara Voss watched the battle unfold from the Dreadnought Bridge. Officers relayed reports, civilian casualties minimal. Enemy military lines collapsing. But resistance is growing in urban zones. Voss closed her eyes. She did not want glory. She did not want planetary ruin. She wanted this to end. Before the galaxy lost even more, she opened her eyes and spoke. "Begin civilian broadcast." A human operator activated the comm system. Captain Voss spoke clearly, her voice reaching every Varkon city, home, school, and base. "To the people of the Varkon Dominion, we do not come to destroy your world. We come to stop those who would destroy ours. Lay down your arms. Step away from military facilities. Let us end this here, before more families on either side suffer." Her voice was not threatening. It was tired, a quiet, exhausted plea for peace, and that made it more terrifying than any shout. Because the Varkons now understood, humans did not want to win. They wanted the killing to end, and that made them unstoppable. Back in the forge, Aaron and the Forge Master crashed against heavy machinery, sparks flying. Each blow was heavy enough to shatter bone. But Aaron did not break, because Aaron was not fighting for pride. Not for conquest. Not for glory. He was fighting for Dr. Reeves, for the children on Ilara 9, for every human who had ever cried calling for help. He seized the Forge Master's shoulder armor, pulled him forward, and spoke softly. "This ends now." The Varkon froze, because he understood. Aaron wasn't just a soldier. He wasn't just a human. He was what happened when a human decided someone was worth protecting, and that was something the Varkons had never prepared for. The forge's master lights flickered, power levels dipped, systems shut down. The first time in centuries, the Warforge fell silent. The Chabadu Varkon Empire felt the silence like a blade. War had begun. But this was the moment the galaxy realized humans didn't become monsters in war. War became a monster when it faced humans. The last decision. The Warforge was silent. For the first time in Varkon history, the great factory heart of their empire had stopped. The molten rivers cooled, the machines stilled, the thunder of production fell quiet, and across the planet, that silence was louder than any explosion. Every Varkon soldier, worker, elder, and child felt it. Something had changed. Something had ended. But something else was about to begin. Deep in the capital city of Velcora, inside a massive throne hall carved from volcanic crystal, the Varkon Emperor watched the live broadcast of the destroyed forge. His claws tightened around the stone arm of his throne, cracking it. He was enormous compared to other Varkons. His scales darker, his horns longer, his presence crushing. He had ruled for 190 cycles. He had never known defeat. And now, humans had brought war to his world. A trembling advisor approached. "Your Majesty, the humans are broadcasting again." The Emperor's voice rumbled. "Play it!" The screen flickered. Captain Yara Voss appeared. her face calm, her eyes steady, no hatred, no triumph, just truth, Varkan dominion. This is your final warning. We have shut down your warforge. We will not harm your civilians. We do not want your world, but if you continue the war, we will finish it. Silence. A silence like a cliff edge. Then Captain Voss spoke the last line slowly. Choose peace. While peace is still possible, the transmission ended. The throne hall was quiet except for the Emperor's breathing, a deep, growing snarl. Peace, he growled. Humans speak of peace. After invading our soil, he rose to his full height. War banners rippled. The throne hall shook. Prepare. My armor, he commanded. His voice was not loud. It didn't need to be. I will face their champion. Myself. On the battlefield outside the silent forge, Aaron stood with his squad. His armor was scorched. Smoke drifted from ruins. The air smelled of metal, dust, and burned ozone. Dr. Reeves spoke through comms. Aaron, scans show a massive energy signature. Approaching your position. Aaron didn't look surprised. I know, he said quietly. His squad readied their weapons, but Aaron raised a hand. No, this is not their army. His eyes narrowed. This is a message. The ground trembled. Then he appeared. The Varkan Emperor walked through the dust, his armor plated with obsidian and engraved with ancient battle scars. His steps were slow, deliberate, heavy. Each footfall sent cracks through the stone. He was bigger than any Varkan they had fought, stronger, older, wiser, and absolutely unafraid. Human soldiers instinctively aimed weapons. Aaron didn't. Aaron stepped forward. The Emperor's voice rolled like thunder. You are the one who shut down my forge. Aaron nodded. Yes, you destroyed our weapons, our pride, our future strength. Yes. Aaron said again, you came to take our world. This time, Aaron shook his head. No. The Emperor paused. Aaron's voice was steady, clear, unshaken. We didn't come to conquer you. We came to stop you from destroying everything else. The Emperor studied him. Why? He asked. Aaron's answer came instantly. Because someone on your side believed your empire was worth saving. The Emperor's eyes flickered. Someone, a memory, a scientist. One who had disappeared, one who had asked for peace. The Emperor's voice lowered. Your kind values loyalty, he said. Ours values strength. Aaron took a step closer. Then understand this. Loyalty makes us stronger than fear ever will. The Emperor was silent. This human spoke without shaking, without hesitation, without pride. He spoke like someone who had already decided what he would die for. That made him dangerous. More dangerous than armies. More dangerous than warships. The Emperor drew his warblade, a massive serrated sword glowing with plasma heat. Then prove your strength. Human. Aaron drew no weapon. His squad and Dr. Reeves yelled his name. But Aaron only spoke one sentence. I don't need to fight you. The Varkan Emperor froze. Confusion cut deeper than any strike. Aaron continued. You are not afraid of losing battles, but you are afraid of losing your people. He nodded toward the cities behind the Emperor, the families watching. Children clinging to parents, soldiers unsure how to move. You know continuing this war means extinction, for both of us. The air thickened, Aaron's voice softened, but it carried across the battlefield. Strength is not destroying your enemy. Strength is protecting those you love. The Emperor's blade trembled. The words hit him like a weapon, because for the first time in his life, he saw fear in his own people's eyes. Not fear of humans, fear of him. Fear of a leader who would rather let them burn than admit defeat. The Emperor exhaled, a long, heavy sound. War left his shoulders. He dropped the blade. It hit the ground like falling destiny. The battlefield did not cheer. No one celebrated. There was only silence, relief, shock, understanding. The Emperor knelt. Not to Aaron, not to humans, to peace. The war did not end with victory. It ended with a choice. One leader choosing to protect life instead of pride. The new alliance. The war did not end with explosions. It ended with silence. A deep and heavy quiet that spread across the Varkon homeworld like sunrise. The forge fires had died. The soldiers had lowered their weapons. And across every city, every military outpost, every home, people waited, not for victory, not for surrender, but for what comes next. Because peace is always the harder battle. High above the planet, aboard the human flagship Horizon, a historic meeting was being prepared. Humans and Varkons in the same room, no chains, no guards pointing rifles, no war drums, just a long circular table, plain, unadorned, equal. Captain Yara Voss stood at one side, dressed not in armor, but in diplomatic uniform, her posture straight, her expression steady. She understood what this meeting meant. If they succeeded, the war would become lesson. If they failed, the stars would burn. On the other side, escorted by his honor guard, came the Varkon Emperor. No war armor this time. Instead, he wore ceremonial robes of dark woven scale fabric. His steps were slow, but his presence filled the room. Behind him walked scientists, historians, and a young soldier whose eyes were still red from the war. Everyone in the room knew loss. Everyone had something to protect, and that is why they were there. As the talks began, Aaron stood near the back wall with his squad. He had no formal rank in diplomacy, no training in negotiation, but he had become the face of this turning point. Whether he liked it or not, Dr. Reeves stood beside him, whispering, "You know, if someone wrote a book about this, you'd be in the first chapter." Aaron didn't smile. He didn't think about glory. He thought about the faces he lost. The soldiers who didn't return. The Varkon engineers caught in crossfire. The worlds burned because two species assumed the worst of each other. He thought, if peace fails, then all of this means nothing. He watched the Emperor and Captain Voss speak. Their words were not poetic, not inspiring. They were hard, real, practical. We share information on planetary weather. Control. We open trade routes only after we ensure mutual security. We dismantle old weapons facilities under joint supervision. Peace was not born in speeches, was built in work, and right now, they were building. But while diplomats talked, something else was happening outside. Down in the capital city, a crowd was gathering. Varkon families, workers, elders, children, standing before a large public screen. They were seeing humans for the first time not as soldiers, but as people. And on Earth, billions watched their screens too, seeing Varkons in their council robes for the first time. History was shifting, not by a hero with a sword, but by two. Civilizations deciding to look at each other without fear. Hours passed. The last treaty document slid across the table. The Emperor looked at it. Captain Voss looked at him. A room full of warriors, survivors, statesmen, and children of war held their breath. The Emperor placed one clawed hand on the table and signed. The chamber did not erupt in cheers, no horns sounded. Instead, people exhaled, slow, shaky, relieved, because peace is not loud. Peace is a soft thing, a thing you only notice when the guns stop. Later, in the observation bay, Aaron stood alone, watching the planet below. Clouds drifting across blue skies, rivers glowing like silver threads, cities rebuilt brick by brick. Footsteps approached. The Emperor stood beside him, not as a ruler now, as a man. "We always believed strength meant conquering," the Emperor said quietly. "And you humans, you taught us that strength can mean protecting instead." Aaron nodded. "War teaches fast. Peace teaches slowly." The Emperor gave a deep, heavy breath. Perhaps peace is what we needed to learn. They stood there, not speaking, just existing in the same silence. Not enemies. Not allies. Something new. Something fragile. Something powerful. A small voice echoed from the doorway. "Aaron!" He turned, and there she was, the young Varkon girl he had shielded during the battle at the forge. She ran to him, her eyes bright. No fear anymore. "Look," she said, holding out a small object. A paper crane, folded carefully, gently. Human craft in alien hands. "Your doctor taught me," she said proudly. Aaron knelt and took it from her. This tiny, Fragile thing. This was the real victory. Not a battle won, not an empire defeated, but a child unafraid. That night, in both human cities and Varkon cities, lights were lit, not torches of war, lanterns, candles, glowing beads of bioluminescent moss. They floated down rivers. They hung from rooftops. They shimmered in the sky like stars fallen to earth. A tradition born on two worlds at once. The night of first peace. Every year after, both species would celebrate it, not to remember war, but to remember who stopped it. Not a hero. Not a ruler, but a simple human instinct. No one gets left behind. The final message. If you harm one human, you call the whole species. But if you ask for help from a human, you may find the strongest ally in the galaxy.